Hello, welcome to the Freeman Perspective. Here we are on our year anniversary, as far as I know, or else we missed it. Maybe it was last Tuesday, I don't know. But Freeman has now been on television for a year. Crazy. And this is something that I really want to talk about. Because, you know, I may have been on TV for a year, but what we got now is hundreds of years of data showing us the manipulation of our world. It's a very interesting thing to watch. You know, I feel very much like Neo, having been unplugged from the Matrix and now standing as I watch everyone else run around within the Matrix. And, you know, much like Neo, when I stepped out of the path, well, not that I was really, we're going to get to that, not that I was really on the path of this real world scenario in the first place, but, you know, once you step out of it, it's not as if it's a beautiful world, you know? But there is a huge difference. And I believe that this huge difference is due to manipulation versus miraculous. As I find myself here in the city actually getting run down, my inspiration's not high. I have the same woes, the same fears that everyone around me has, that, oh my God, how are we going to make it? Of course, I do have the added benefit of knowing the world is coming to an end, and I know that you all will be joining me here soon. You know, gas being what it is, electricity being what it is, we're all going to be in the poorhouse soon, and we'll be hanging out together, I hope. So let's look at this thing a little bit more, because now one thing, I analyze these issues, these critical problems. All right. Weird. We're having interesting technological problems here. Try turning all the knobs down. Because here we are, we're looking at this picture, and honestly, when I'm bringing you ideas about the Freemasons and ideas about the fish people and Sirius and even just the matrix structure of the real world, I'm not doing this to bring about fear. That is not my goal at all. Actually, quite the opposite. I'm hoping to bring about wonder. Because our lives here on planet Earth is way more intriguing than the real world would have you know. But of course, our educational system blocks us from our own creative play. And this is one of the things that has been massively used against us. Because if you recognize that we, ourselves, all of us together, manifest reality, then you'll understand why all the propaganda, why all of the... Well, let's take a few things right now, for instance, okay? How many of you have seen this advertisement for the new show coming on ABC? Fatal Contact. Interesting. Bird Flu in America is the subtitle. And it shows hundreds of thousands of people dead in the streets while the military and the government are going, well, we don't have the vaccines to save anyone. There is no hope. There is no hope. This is preparation, folks. You know, another thing that I see along this way is that we're not escaping this path. No matter what we do at this point, we are not escaping this path. It would take a very large miracle to change courses right now. So they put out movies like Fatal Contact to prepare you, to let you know how to react when this scenario happens. And the reason they know their scenario is going to happen is because they're making it happen, right? This whole thing has been shown time and time again through all of them, through SARS, through AIDS, up to the bird flu virus, and now it's the mumps, as absolutely manufactured, absolutely being designed, okay? So I really feel like World War III is going to come in with a cough, much like Stephen King's The Stand. Of course, we've shown his Illuminati connections on this show as well. So we get these movies that try and tell us what the future holds for us, and they want to program us into our reaction. And so now we've also got this Flight 93. Well, this one's on a slightly different bent. Flight 93 is trying to infuse a new reality onto your reality because they're finding that Alex Jones and many others are bringing about this truth. You know, George Humphrey and a number of other people working on 911, realizing that Flight 93 was quite the farce and quite an unusual experience. So now they're going to bring you the movie to show you what really happened. And you can relate this to, I don't know if you guys remember back at the Waco time, I'm sure here in Texas, Waco's still fresh in the brain. They put out a movie called The Truth About Waco, and it was all about how David Koresh was horrible and how all the people hated him and this and that and the other. Now, I've seen enough interviews with the Davidians to know that they weren't, they didn't say that. But then when you watch the credits of The Truth About Waco, I was firmly astounded. I couldn't believe it because right there on the credits was Janet Reno in the State Department. Produced by Janet Reno in the State Department. So we're allowing these guys to manipulate our brains, and they're openly doing it without much fear at all. To put their names in the credits, I was quite astounded. So we allow people to murder, hundreds of people, and then create a movie to explain to us why they've done it, and then we buy the movie, or at least its explanation. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, it's all a matrix. I mean, that's really the point of my show, is to show you that this is a contrivance, that this is manufacturing consent, so that this is all of your own free will and accord. And I, being a strategist, I love strategy. I love, games of strategy. And I've looked at this picture for so long now that you'd think a strategy would unfold for freeing us. Well, so far that hasn't occurred. But the one thing that I have noted is this war on creative play by the Brotherhood, how they usurp our very divine nature by turning it into American Idol or turning it into a Pepsi Music Co. It's... They usurp our very creative talents and use them to their own ends, and then tell you exactly what this is and how you should do it and what is popular, and of course most follow suit, and that's where we lose hope because, well, the Baba mentality, as David Icke calls it, where the sheep just follows the herd, and of course the rest of us are corralled by fear. So what's the answer? I plan on taking some phone calls here in a little bit after I'm done ranting and raving, but because what is the solution? Now here I can talk about the whole conspiracy, if you want to call it that. I call it reality, and it goes in one ear and out the other. Yeah, it's an intriguing thing to look at, and absolutely, I love it. I love researching this stuff. I find it all amazing, but I'm not doing it from a fear-based thing. It's a creative play thing to me, and we're going to get more into that. So, to look for solutions, all I can look to is what they don't want to occur. And obviously, your own playtime is at a maximum premium these days. Because they do not want you to have playtime. So now we're looking at gas prices rising up to $3.50, $3.80 a gallon. And maybe, definitely it's going to go higher and higher. But as a researcher into such topics, I absolutely know that in 1931, Tesla was driving an electric car at 90 miles an hour for 6 days in 1931. Right? Interestingly enough, this car is powered by a box that has no moving parts and therefore will last basically forever. And, simple replacement if you don't. But what I find really intriguing about this electric car and the power box that generates the energy for it to run on is that this very box was also described in New Atlantis, written by Sir Francis Bacon back in the 1700s. How much do they know? How far back does this go? And what do they know? They're holding technologies from us. They're holding everything we need to live within utopia. It is a constant question that comes my way as to why these men are evil. I can't answer that. I see them. I watch them do their evil deeds. I watch as they manipulate reality. And, I listen to their explanations as to why. Because they seem to believe they are building utopia, but only after they destroy all us evildoers. I don't know. I mean, go to my website and you'll see the connections between George Bush and 666. I show you all these corporate logos and their esoteric connections. It's all one system, people. There is no way out of it through the system. There is no way for us to elect a better president. There is no way for us to change the banking system so that it functions for the benefit of mankind. No, these things have never existed. If you look at the structures, you'll see that in the beginning it was the gods. We had the gods in the ancient past, and they ruled. They ruled by supremacy. They had superior knowledge, they had superior physical structure, all these stories told of the Nephilim and the giants. But from there, then we got into the Tower of Babel, everyone got split up, everyone got their own religion and their own language. And of course, we see that all these religions are actually linked, but everybody was given little separate pieces of it and then taught to war amongst each other. So the first form of control that you would see was the church steeple, in towering over the city would be the church or the cathedral. But then as times moved on and the Crusades came along, then the Templars took over and they started what we now consider our banking system. This was all started by the Templars. They became very rich, very powerful, and of course we're still involved in religion and digging up the Holy Ark and doing all of a number of interesting things, kissing Baphomet and talking to a dead head and whatnot. But they started the banking system, and so then as you looked around, no longer was the church steeple the tallest building in town. Now it was the bank. Every bank was the largest building in town in the 80s and 90s. But now we're in the 21st century. We see as the banking system is fading away and we're moving towards this electronic system, the chip. And if you start to look around today, you're going to absolutely notice that the largest buildings in any city are the cell phone companies. Yes, so you can see the new form of control being put into place. And I find it very interesting since, I do corporate logos that Nextel could very easily be read Next-L, which L, of course, means Lord. Our next Lord. Absolutely, the chip. But why? Why right now? Why is all this occurring at this moment? Why is it that we seem to be in the age of revelation? Is it manufactured? You go to my website, read these articles, I outline everything for you so that you can see that they are absolutely putting forward this age of revelations type of scenario. From Shakana to W, all of these things, to the capping of the Great Pyramid with gold. These things are all symbols that they're using. So why now? Well, okay, I don't know if you guys noticed on the news a couple days back, 2 days ago, they had a extreme danger UV warning. The ultraviolet light from our sun had reached a maximum peak. That was of extreme danger, they said. I've never seen that reported on the news ever before in my life, but they treated it as if it was just, oh yeah, mold counts high, UV's extremely dangerous, have a nice day. The timing is very intriguing, of what's going on. I watch as NASA researcher Richard Hoagland shows the connections between astrological cycles, not to mention the rising and setting of Sirius, and all of these things being incorporated into the rituals of the Masons and or NASA. So timing has a lot to do with this whole scenario, and timing has to do with our placement in the universe. This is what really time can be factored down to. The Earth rotates, we have time. The solar system rotates, we have time. Of course, the solar system rotates at a 26,000 year cycle, which we are now at the great dawn of. We are at the beginning of a new great day. So perhaps this is the reason. Because as we are learning now, vibration is everything. And if we are receiving new radiation of a type not seen in 13,000 years, coming from the galactic core, it absolutely would alter the vibration of the sun and alter the vibration of our very beings. And so then this could very well explain technologies like HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, which is a frequency modulator. You get a chipped population, you got a frequency modulator, you decide who receives what radiation and who doesn't. Is that out there? So, what can we do? What can we do? We're looking at this military, industrial, and if you believe it, extraterrestrial complex. And I'm seeing no way out of that. People ask me, well, who can we elect for president? Well, no one, I scream my chant of quit your job. And people look at me and like, well, how can you say that? Well, I understand the fear that comes of walking away from the real world. Believe me, I do. Because especially living in the city right now, it's very difficult for me to generate the necessary cash it takes to live in a city. Whereas when I'm on the road, everything is miraculous. Everything comes my way. Everything is perfect. I can't even describe it to you. I've tried. But, it's synchronicity. And this is the difference between manipulation and miraculous. Because within the real world, you start thinking, oh, well, if I do A, say, create something as trivial as the slinky, I'll be a millionaire. And then I can take care of all my needs. It's ridiculous to me that everyone on this planet needs to produce a piece of plastic in order to exist. That's just the craziest thing I've ever heard. But that's what they expect of us. And if you can't produce something, then service somebody. That's your second option. Work within the production cycle. So we get lost in that mentality, the manipulation mentality, where we want to find a way, we want to come up with the bigger, better slinky so that we could possibly manage our lives and manipulate reality enough to the point where we can control things. Now, out on the road, you've got the opposite scenario. You have nothing. I have nothing, okay? At this moment, I have nothing. I have no money. I got a couch I stay on, but other than that, I really am not in control of my life at all. And this is a seemingly frightening place to be until you experience it and recognize the miraculous. And this is the big difference between the two realities, because the miraculous is spawned of creative play. If I were not playful, if I were not finding excitement and inspiration within the world, then I would not gain a thing. No one would be happy to help me. No one would be happy to take me into their home and join me in this revelation of inspiration that comes from synchronicity of the miraculous world. So I get on the miraculous high because it's so amazing, people. It's so amazing to watch as miracle after miracle occurs. And so now I have handed my life over to the miraculous. I said, okay, that's it. Very much like war games where the computer figures out that the only way to win tic-tac-toe is not to play. I see the same scenario with the real world and salvation. And I mean salvation on planet Earth, where we're all existing in harmony together. which is way lost in our back reaches of our brains. You know, we've lost all sight of a miraculous reality, of a life that generates hope and inspiration and love. These type of things have almost been forgotten because we're in a battle. We're in a battle with seeing our, the Templar notes flying out of our pockets. And so how to find the miraculous within the city life is something that I'm experiencing right now, trying to do. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. And last night I spoke of quitting your job, and it was brought up to my attention that, well, that's not the easiest choice to make. I agree with this. I totally do, unless you're on the road, And maybe this year, we all go out to the Rainbow every year. You guys might lose Freeman for a month or two. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to decide. But I need to, it recharges my batteries. I go back out there and everything's miraculous within the Rainbow. Everything, it's amazing. And I hope that I've, maybe talked to a few of you going. You can easily find out who and where they are by checking out the Rainbow Family of Living Light. And I don't know, the Rainbow are a little afraid of the feds as well, so I don't know if I'll tell you right now where the Rainbow will be at. But it'll be in the Midwest, a little further west. So, but you see there, acting out of fear right there already, It's right in front of me as well as I should... Can we get back to our childlike play? Can we get back to a state where we actually believe that we are inspired and wonderful beings, and instead of living in fear of the federal government, living in fear of stating open freedom? So yeah, every researcher comes to the same conclusions. We look at this picture, we get bona fide data that absolutely, I got to the point where I predicted world events, including 9/11 and W being railroaded into office. And you get up to a point as a researcher where, well, how much more research do I need? How much more do I need to look at this picture? And every researcher that I've looked at has eventually come to the same conclusions, that this is all based in imagination. It's all based on creative play. And that the true escape is to allow that child inside to come out and not be afraid of these guys. And David Icke's come to this conclusion, John Rappaport's come to this conclusion, and we watch as these magicians use their imagination to craft ritual to manipulate the real world. Now, magic and aliens are two things that I've been trying to bring to the table to add to this whole New World Order conspiracy. Because half the problem is understanding understanding the problem. Half of the solution is understanding the problem. So, when is enough enough? When do we recognize that this is all manipulation, and that you can't elect a good president, and that there is no reason to go gain your Templar notes, that they are just wanting to take from you? And what if we all just stopped? If you step back and look at the picture, you see it's going off the edge of a cliff. It's not that big of a deal to jump out before it gets there. And if enough of us were to jump out of this scenario, then, it would make a difference. And I've always wanted to revive the merry pranksters and take a drum circle from cubicle to cubicle and see how many matrices we could pull out. How many people trapped in their cubicles could we get to come play drums and escape that bound reality? That non-creative, that logical, rational world. I often feel very much like Baron Munchausen, because I watch as my own inspiration starts to slip away while I live here in the city. But the road has as well become treacherous, and it is a danger zone out there for sure. But the miraculous seems to overwhelm the fear that comes along with traveling out there, because you won't believe it. All you gotta do is try it. So let's go ahead and take some phone calls, and let's think about solutions solution think. Because I'm tired of talking about the problem. I mean, I do find it very interesting. I love to discuss how I see it and what I think is even the bigger picture. But we need to find some solutions, and really, it has a lot to do with our own creative expression, which doesn't seem to be. So hopefully this thing's going to work. That's all I got to say. Hello there.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Fag bashers unite! Fag bashers unite! Fag bashers unite!
Why is it always those guys that get through first? Now that right there is, very much an expression of creative play. This guy has the cojones to come on and dial that phone and say these things. Now this is, a good thing. Maybe the message isn't the best thing because I'm really not believing that violence is the answer to anything at all. Actually, it'll cause way more problems than before. Boy, you really sparked the phones there. But that is a version of creative play, and you should not be afraid to express your creative play. Hello.
Death to faggotry. Fag bashers unite! Fag bashers unite!
That guy, he is having a great time. You see that? And with his happiness, I mean, right now he's sitting at home and he's feeling glee. He's feeling like he has touched the world. You could come up here and get your own show, and you could touch the world all the time. That's what I keep trying to tell people that want to, just phone in on shows. And why don't you get your own show, and then you can sit here and scream that all night long. It'd be a lot more fun. So are you still on the line? Hello?
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 Can you hear me, Freeman?
Yes, I can.
I'm on one of those evil cell phones. So,
Oh, okay.
Might come out evil.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and
did you see
the
that
next
video
Lord,
of
the
that
next
crazy-
L, boy. Well, pretty soon it'll just be put right in your head, so you won't have to worry about carrying that thing around.
Did you see that video of the crazy alien?
I'm sorry?
The crazy alien in Mexico?
Crazy aliens?
Yeah, reached out and tried to grab this kid that was playing soccer.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'll send you a link to it, man. It was pretty crazy.
All right. Well, what happened?
It was just caught on the guy's cell phone. He went to go get his soccer ball, and the alien was hiding around the corner and just stuck his hand out to try to reach him. And so his arm was like 4 or 5 feet long, compared to like a normal body. It was like, a little extra long. Plus it was like white skin. It was kind of weird looking.
All right. This type of thing is probably going to start becoming more of a reality here in the future. It's exciting, if we realize that there is an extraterrestrial presence and that our government is in cahoots with extraterrestrials from numerous regions in the galaxy. Then we will also realize that right now, at this point in time, humanity on this planet could live forever and travel the galaxy. Now that's the plus side of this whole scenario, because as we're looking at this picture and we're seeing this extraterrestrial connection that runs with our government, then you must also accept that there is the positive extraterrestrial aspect, which is us having genetic modification to the point where we live for thousands of years and can absolutely travel to distant stars.
So you know about Roger Lear and all his implant surgery he's done, right?
I'm sorry, I really can't hear you.
All right, I got a bad line.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I'll have to. So that's definitely the positive on this scenario, because can you imagine what that would be like? Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good.
Oh, lose you?
No, I'm sorry. I forgot what I was gonna say.
All right. Well, think about it. Come back. All right. Maybe we're. Hello. Anybody there? Are you there?
Yeah.
All right. Oh. Hey. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I like your idea about or I didn't see it, but what you said about not going to work.
Yeah.
I've had thoughts like that. What if everyone decided just to shut down the system.
Yeah, I mean, what does civilization really do? What does it do for you? I mean, if we notice that, with processed foods, our dental hygiene is going straight down, and there's absolute links to processed foods. We see that we have TV dinners instead of expressions of love. We have no one gathering together to eat together. What has civilization brought to us? What do we get? A car that we can drive to work to come home and watch our TV? Laziness, yeah. Uninspired is what I prefer to call it. Uninspired, And so, yeah, I mean, what does it hurt to walk away from it? What do you think we are gaining, from our constant trials and tribulations called the real world? So what would happen if we all walked away?
Most people get.
Because who likes going to work? I mean, but yeah, we do it. Why? Let's continue to question that. Why do we go to work every day?
We're still slaves. We're slaves to the dollar.
We are slaves to the dollar. And then we got to ask, what is the dollar?
Nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing but our faith-based system, which was a pantacle crafted by magicians we now know as the Templars.
Yeah. And the gold that used to back it up isn't even here anymore.
Oh, but why gold? Gold, see, every question, why gold? Gold has been being dug out of this planet since the ancient Sumerians, through the Egyptians, through the Mayans, through the Incas, right on up into California and the gold rush, and Alaska with the, why gold? What's so important? What's so critically important about this stone that 5,000 years have been dedicated to it?
I don't know.
Yeah, look into a monoatomic gold and its transdimensional qualities. It absolutely seems that gold is very much similar to the spice of Dune, where they can fold space-time through monoatomic gold. There's a lot of research going into that right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole world is not as it appears. That's all a construct. That's all the matrix. And so you can absolutely walk away from it and find the miraculous within your life. And you will see. You will see it. It's amazing. But thank you.
All right, cool.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Hey, I was wondering, are you looking forward to the new Superman movie?
Doesn't it just look like a total remake of the old Superman movie?
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there again, Superman's very intriguing because he is absolutely the expression of a Nephilim. He is a superior being that came down to this planet and has superior strength and abilities.
Well, he's kind of like Jesus.
Well, Jesus could be kind of connected, but Jesus didn't have the same extraterrestrial origins, I don't think. He was more of a human that had God within him. But Superman is an extraterrestrial that was sent to this planet by the Galactic Federation. He's.
Do you think that it's possible that somebody like Superman could actually exist?
Well, sure. I mean, that is the story of the Nephilim, the fallen ones, those that were cast down to Earth. If you read the story of Gilgamesh, you'll find that he was superhuman and that he would get into constant wars and fight with his own people and rape all the women because he was super strong. He was.
I haven't read that issue yet.
Yeah, check out the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's really interesting because they end up finally crafting Bigfoot, which they called Enkidu. And they craft Bigfoot to fight Gilgamesh because he's just too powerful for the humans. And Gilgamesh runs around saying, I'm 2/3 God because his mother was a goddess. His mother was a Nephilim. So absolutely, Superman fits right into the whole Nephilim story. And yeah, just compare it to Gilgamesh.
You think there could be guys like that walking around?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's more in the underground, I absolutely think that our leaders, due to their actions, know about these type of scenarios where humans can live longer, have these superpowers. They know about this. They're trying to break into that.
Like, pick stuff up and all that.
Yeah.
All right, man. Peace out.
Yeah, have a good one. Thanks for the call. Hello. Did that work? Hello. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Free, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man.
Well, all right. Thanks for last night. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I'll turn down my TV here, of course. And I just want to remind everyone that this is the end of their time, the evil ones. It is the end of their time.
We are watching as they're scrabbling to keep control.
Well, and distract everyone as well.
Yes.
And keep everybody busy scrambling for, you know, and fighting amongst ourselves as much as humanly possible, or evilly possible, I guess. So it's just, I mean, people don't really consider it that way, but it truly is the end of their time. They know it, and I just think they want to take everybody with them.
That is a possibility, because they absolutely do seem to want to kill a bunch of us off. There is, you know, they themselves are now 2 miles deep underground. You know, there's always a lot of jokes about Cheney coming up to the surface. See, he's always underground, right there in that place right there, where Space Command is, and so. Yeah, they believe they get to survive. They actually also believe that they get to leave this planet, because if you study Mormonism, which is heavily connected with the Freemasons, then you will find that these guys absolutely believe that they're getting off this planet.
Okay.
So, yeah, it might have to do with the arrival of Planet X. It really could, with the arrival of the gods and them preparing humanity to be the servants of the gods. And I see it as them demolishing this planet to a point where we can barely sustain life, and then these gods coming and saving us from ourselves, because that's their M.O., cause the problem, offer the solution.
Well, that's what they'd have us believe. The book of Revelation is actually history. It's not any predictor. It's actually at least as old physically as the book of Moses or Genesis, which may be taken from something else. So biblical scholars have pointed out that Revelation is, in fact, history. It has already happened. They have, of course, put that in the New Testament, which, if it's as old as Genesis, what's it doing there? Is it something to do with a guy by the name of King James, maybe?
Yes,
anyway.
Yes, and let's not leave out Sir Francis Bacon. Oh, I mean Shakespeare. Oh, I mean the guy who wrote New Atlantis.
Yeah, that was a good thing I had on that. So they're trying to script what they would like to have happen.
Yes.
And we, you know, and as you have said so famously, that, you know, if we all just stop, that's really our ultimate vote.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what are they going to do? I believe the way it is supposed to happen, and I forget where I got this thought from, but that they implode on each other. They fight each other. So if we don't fight, they have to fight somebody, because they don't have anything else to do, obviously. So they will, and you know, and George Green has said that too. That, you know, they're in rooms next door to each other talking about killing each other.
Right.
So it's probably bound to happen if we just let it happen.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing stopping this wave, as far as I can tell. You know, there's HAARP behind me. There's all these technologies that they have, and you know, they have the ability to manufacture the apocalypse, just like we're saying. With these new technologies, they are able to cause hailstorms. And I've been subject to such hailstorms in 80, 90-degree weather, and I've absolutely seen the effects of HAARP.
Dramatically, yes.
Yeah. Then along with the chemtrails, and, you know, we're starting to recognize the power of light frequencies on our DNA, and that's a very interesting thing to tie into all of this.
Right, and if the rest of our brain turns on, as is alleged, that would be a factor of, I would think, at least 20 times, you know, in linear terms, but it's probably incalculable. So we won't need any of that stuff. It won't have any effect if we understand that there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But one thing, you know, as they are manufacturing this apocalypse,
truly,
we're going to see, like, what, you know, Moses did with the Pharaoh. You know, we're going to watch as plagues are manufactured, and as storms are manufactured, and earthquakes are manufactured. All these things are going to occur it's going to seem more like God is striking down the planet as opposed to these technologies that are actually creating it.
Well, that's assuming that your attention is on the glowing appliance in the corner.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, all hail the glowing
All hail the
appliance.
glowing box.
What would we do without it?
Yeah, I'm hoping to use this glowing box against the glowing box.
Well,
you know?
you do wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, it was a good night last night.
Yeah, so thanks.
Thanks.
Good night.
We played a Mason game show, found that most of us don't know squat about our own national history. Hey there?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, like, about the end of the world and stuff, because I was watching on TV on Discovery Channel or whatever. 51, you ever watch it? It has, like, all kind of different stuff on the Da Vinci Code and, like, the end of the world and, like, extraterrestrial stuff. And, like, really, I think that the stuff is true, but they put it out to give to us, like, a message to saying, like, oh, it's here, like, you think it's here, but it's not. So we're just going to show you that it's not, but it's a bunch of bullshit because you already know it is. Because, like, why would all this stuff happen? That it has evidence to back up for what has happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They want to give you their perspective of the situation, so they leave certain things out. They give you enough for you to feel informed, but they leave out the main factors that actually, leave us in being controlled. The Da Vinci Code you mentioned
exactly.
was
That's what
very
I was talking about. Yeah.
much that way, where it gave you a whole bunch of information on how the Illuminati encode their stuff in the symbolism of buildings and even, the 666 panes of glass. But that if you look into the full story, you're going to find that this is not a story of Jesus and Mary having a lineage. The lineage goes all the way back to ancient Samaria and to the gods. And so that portion of the story is just kind of left out. And you get the whole story of Jesus and Mary having a child. But the true Holy Grail actually comes from way beyond that and is the bloodline, in my belief.
Of Jesus. Yeah,
Not of Jesus, no, of the gods.
Of the God?
Yes, because if you find that the most important thing to any fraternal order is who's your daddy, where does your bloodline go? And then you find that all of our presidents, whether they were Freemasons or not, were all of the same blood, this royal bloodline, this divine right to rule bloodline. And then you track that bloodline back and you eventually come to the pharaohs, who were the god men, who actually president means first man. You find that it's actually a genetic link that runs straight back to most likely Cain, and then from Cain back to Enki and Enlil. And
can I ask you, what do you think about the Antichrist? Like the whole situation on that. Do you really think that there is an Antichrist?
That's a tough one. I haven't done a whole lot of research into the Antichrist because I'm only now coming around to looking at the Christian view of things. So, I was raised without a religion at all. So everything that I say just comes from an outside perspective looking in. And, even though I've connected 666 to George W., I still don't know that. I would never say W is the Antichrist, that's for sure. He's not smart enough.
Yeah.
But they believe it. That's one thing I know. They believe it. If you see their encodings, you see that Skull and Bones number 322 relates back to Genesis 322, whereas and they became as gods. And you can constantly see this. The very reason that they use 66 so many times, where 66 is Highway 66 was the route to go get the gold, right? Phillips 66, and then in Star Wars, they had Execute Order 66, where 66 kills all the Jedi. They are encoding these numbers into their magic, into their manipulation of the real world. So they absolutely believe in this scenario of the Antichrist and whatnot, because there was no accident that Hitler put the VV making 666 on his Volkswagen for World War II. So... yeah, I mean, they go through rituals. These guys are weird, okay? They're not like us.
It's real. like I was looking at it yesterday. You know, I'm not real big on religion. I kind of like facts and stuff that I believe more than, oh, this is what it says and this is what you should go by. I'm more like a man that goes by evidence and how is this real, and you know, just basically just the facts. That's what I want to know. You know what I mean?
Well, go to my website, and I've got all the facts databased on the numbers of 666 and their connection to Bush, and all the connection links between the gods, man, and today.
Okay, man. You have a good show.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Uh-huh.
This is fun, guys. Having fun with you. Here is Mr. Zahi Hawass. Now, this guy's totally a tool. He's standing in a subterranean complex there that they found under the Giza Plateau. Now, this was called the Osiris Tomb and was one of the questions on the quiz show last night. This subterranean world that's going on below us is something so magnificent and so interesting. If you look at Y2K, when all was said and done and all of the things had occurred, what was left with Y2K? What was the final outcome? Now, there didn't seem to be a major computer meltdown. You can bring me back on now. There didn't seem to be a major computer meltdown. There didn't seem to be any nuclear explosions going off or anything that happened from all the hype. But what we did see was the creation of a subterranean base, which they called Command Central, and an undisclosed location, which routed all of the different resources through it, so that even the stock market was routed through Command Central, which was nearly 2 miles under the earth in an undisclosed location. And this was the only outcome of Y2K, was all, well, besides the billions and billions of dollars that they made. So when you take that into consideration, if you remember that they had Command Central and that the stock market was running through Command Central, and then 911 occurs, and you know about the Rothschilds and their manipulation of the stock market, then you realize that the stock market was still running, even when they told us it had shut down due to 911. Because it was still running in that subterranean Command Central. What else was it built for? I mean, they spent so many billions of dollars building this base for this very reason, and then they come out and tell you that the stock market was shut down for 3 days after 911. Yeah, BS. That's all I gotta say. No, man, and they manipulate the very structure of reality through that. All right. Hello.
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 Yeah, the things that were penetrating the Earth's atmosphere, transparent disc. What is that? What's all that about?
Okay, that was a film by the NASA Space Shuttle Columbia. And if you check out David Sereda, I think I have it linked on my site, I'm not sure. He talks about the connection between this craft that he's seeing there and the Dropa stone found in ancient Africa, or in Africa, which is an ancient stone that within the spiral of the stone, it tells the story of the Syrians, which these guys are supposed to be a depiction of. And here, flash that forward.
Do you still have some of that footage? I'd love to see that again.
Yeah, I'm actually working on that. It's going to be in the new Columbia episode for sure. I have a DVD. It's 3 hours of the Freeman perspective. It's more like what you're seeing behind me. Actually, these are 2 of the episodes. So it's not me speaking like I am now. It is hundreds of images showing you what I'm talking about. And so you're watching Harp right now, and before this was Corporate Logos. And you can just contact me on my website for more information on the DVD. The footage was quite intriguing because it showed the hyperdimensional crafts, right? So we actually could see right through them. And you can listen as the NASA observers on Columbia are witnessing this, but not speaking about it on the public band. You'll hear long spaces of silence where they, most believe that they are talking to Space Command back in Cheyenne Mountain, saying, "Hey, look at all these." I mean, there are hundreds of them.
Your footage is what they're coming into the atmosphere?
Yeah, I showed that, and then also the tether experiment.
Well, it just seems to me like that's the only real proof we have of UFOs.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
Disc. Are they information disc or?
Well, they seem to be hyperdimensional, and they seem to be absolutely controlled. But what they're doing is beyond us. You know, why did they go and form in that ring over northern Africa? Why is it that the Syrians are well known to be fish people and are very connected with northern Africa?
And also, you see a lot of these discs with the natives back in the old days, the rocks that they were bringing with the hole in the middle with the chip.
Little divot on the side.
That is very strange.
Yeah, that was the Dropa stone. Or there are others, I'm sure.
Okay.
But that is where that came from. I don't remember. I think it was 93 that was videotaped, and it was broadcast live by NASA. Right into all of our homes, and this sort of scenario continues to happen where Cassini just sent back photos of a Death Star surrounding Saturn. Of course, we have the whole face on Mars and pyramids on Mars scenario from the Cydonia region and the Mars Explorer. So it seems that history on planet Earth goes way further back than we're willing to accept right now.
I think so, too, and I thank you very much, Freeman.
Thank you. And if you look at it, you'll realize that Egypt's history runs backwards. It starts with a high civilization, with medicine, with astrology, astronomy, all of the things a high civilization would have, including their artwork. I mean, the artwork there is incredible. And then declines from there. You see, there is no pre-Egypt. It's a transplant colony from somewhere. And all of our foundations of civilization are based on that, and right down to the term president, which is an Egyptian term that means first man. The five-pointed star is as well an Egyptian symbol, which goes, of course, back to Sirius, which is the same symbol the Brotherhood uses, the Freemasons, which is why there's a pyramid on the dollar bill, because of their links to the ancient Egyptians and the gods. I mean, this is all one big unified system, and once you see it, it's well, not only amazing, but it's pretty impressive. And kind of frightening, because this is beyond all of us. And then we find, but like I said, the exciting portion is that if all these things be true, then that means that we absolutely can leave this planet. In this incarnation, right at this time, some of us could actually get off this planet. I say some of us because some are just way too lost. I don't know how to save them. I don't know what to do. Hello.
Hey, Freeman. Three things. What did you mean by life on the road? What is the symbolism of the 3D box with the little maze-like design running through it? And also, it's interesting that you pointed out that next L may mean next Lord, because cell phones and phones in general have to do with communication, and that's word, and it says that in the beginning the Word was God and the Word was with God. So that's an interesting point. But what do you mean by life on the road, and what is that box?
The box. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
It's like a 3D box.
Huh?
It's like a 3D box with a little maze or a blob for gateway or some.
Oh, the different, the cube symbolism.
Yeah, what is that?
Okay. Well, first of all, life on the road, one of my favorite topics. I did not seem to assimilate well into the structure system that they were trying to lock me into. When I was in school, my imagination ran wild, and I have refused to let go of this. Okay, I've refused to let go of my creative play. I refuse to let go of my imagination, and I believe what I find, and imagination leads you down all these paths. Life on the road is just what happened to me. It was amazing. I'm a natural gypsy, so I jumped in a van as soon as I graduated high school, and just lived as a beach bum, and my life was miraculous. I found myself in penthouses. I found myself in places that I would never imagine, ending up at Wavy Gravy's birthday party, or meeting Ken Kesey, or had lunch with George Bush's niece. The events go on, not to mention the other rather more amazing events like meeting the Bride of Christ and witnessing that giant flying rectangle. So life on the road is absolutely the key to in my opinion, to this whole scenario, because once you bust free, you see everything else as it is, and you'll start to form a gestaltic view of the real world, and you'll start to recognize the miraculous. So what I mean by that is that what I did is I started juggling, all right? I've been trying to get my juggling sticks down here to show you guys, but they're in Kansas. But so I started juggling and making these juggling sticks, and I found that I could sell them as fast as I made them. So I just said, well, I could do this anywhere. I packed myself in my van, and a little dog with black and white spots and polka dot feet came and jumped in with me, and we traveled this country far and wide. I've been to every state. I've lived in nearly every state. And I have met tens of thousands of people. I mean, I know everyone. I cannot leave my house. I cannot go anywhere in this country without running into somebody I know. And that's amazing. You start to recognize how small the planet actually is. And now I'm branching out. Now I've got friends in Norway, India, Sweden, you know. So as soon as I start my world travels, I'm all taken care of, you know. So life on the road is giving yourself up to the faith in the miraculous and just going, right? I left with no more than $38 in my pocket, right? And I have left with less than that. I've left with less than $1 in my pocket in a vehicle, right? And I have traveled this country far and wide, from coast to coast. I usually hit each coast 4 times each year without any forethought as to how I'm going to do such. It gives you the liberty to give you an idea. I was traveling south down Highway 666, and me and my friends kind of looked at one another, and we were like, you know, do we really want to travel south on 666? And so we turned around and we headed north, you know, because it did not matter. And this is a huge difference between planning a vacation, which could be very stressful, and what I now term life on the road, because I have no plans, right? I'm plans. I've had, you know, each time I go, I bring someone with me that's never been before so that they can see the miraculous as well, and everyone does. And then we incorporate this into our reality, and then we can incorporate this into the real world. So my hope is to bring about this wonderment of miraculous so that you can incorporate this into the real world, because absolutely we can't do away with homes, we can't do away with water and food and all the necessary things to human life. But we can do away with these powers of control because they're unnecessary. Rainbow shows that. We all govern ourselves when happy, inspired people in the tribe, in the tribal mentality, keeps itself in check, because people don't want, you know, the tribe to turn against them or have be looked down upon. So life on the road is just casting all this manipulation aside and just taking it, man, just rolling with it. And for the cube, as far as it's a symbol of man perfected, and there's a bigger explanation on my website. Go to thefreemanperspective.blogspot.com, and I have the cube outlined there. But main message tonight is absolutely get out there and play. So on that note, I would like to mention this weekend we have the ATX Fest with special guest Collect All 5, which won't be playing until about 1 in the morning. But there's a great lineup. We've got Spoon-Fed Tribe, bunch of conspiracy theorists. They've got a copy of the Freeman Perspective, absolutely. And a number of others, Moving Matter, and it's going to be a great show. It's down there at the Padgey House, the corner of Lamar and Riverside. Let's get together. Let's have some collective fun and find the life between us. Because it's us, people. It's us uniting. It's us coming together in enjoyment and inspiration that will change things, not going out and electing the right guy. So throw that video on if you can there, Shag, and let's, you guys have a great night. I talked a little longer than I meant to. Is that going to play? All right. Collect all 5 for your enjoyment.
How's everybody feeling? How is everybody feeling? Everybody upstairs feeling it too? All right, that's cool. And we're gonna keep it funky here. Funky and spiritual. For all you heathens out there, this one's called Funk for Jesus.